Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As we come to the end of 2022, you might be thinking, man, it's been another tough year. So tonight, let's take some time. We want to highlight some of the more uplifting stories we've covered in our community. So first, we'll go to Cottonwood in western Minnesota for a story about neighbors helping neighbors. Kent Erdahl shows us how two men rescued each other just when they both needed it most.
When you live on a farm, long roads can both isolate and connect.
Yeah.
But Brad Basut says, like anything else out here, the connection takes work.
It's like you just do it. You just go over and help somebody, go over and help them in need, and that's what we all do.
Brad found himself in need during evening chores last November.
So I was trying to put the round bale in this feeder, and the tractor, I got out of the tractor to make some adjustments, and meanwhile the tractor rolled ahead and pinched my leg in there.
He'd left his cell phone inside and couldn't get his dog Zoe to leave his side.
I tried to pull the old Lassie go get me help trick, but that didn't work.
So after 5 hours trying to wave at traffic and free himself, he put his faith in Plan B.
Plan B was just to save my energy to get through the night and wait for somebody to find me.
14 hours later, after countless cars passed by, his neighbors turned in.
The little guy here needed to go for a ride like he does every morning.
Charlie Olson immediately noticed Brad's cattle were out, along with his tractor.
He never leaves his tractor out. I could look right through the feeder at an angle through the slots, and I could see him waving. And when I saw him waving like that, I knew he was in trouble.
Minutes later, Brad knew help was finally on the way.
Something I'll never forget who it was, who the first faces I seen. Yeah.
I'm just so glad that he's alive. This could have had a whole different outcome.
Charlie doesn't need to travel far to be reminded of that.
14 years ago, we had a rough time. We lost a daughter.
Emily Olson died just half a mile up the road on February 19th, 2008, after a minivan sped through a stop sign and toppled a Lakeview school bus. Emily was among 4 children killed. Many more, including 2 of Charlie's sons, were injured, leaving him in need.
When we were on to Sioux Falls for more surgeries on our sons that had gotten banged up, Brad called me and said, "We've got your livestock, you take care of your family."
For years, he says that simple act, along with all the others that followed down the road from neighbors, almost felt isolating.
Your first instinct is you got to pay everybody back. And the more you think about it, the more overwhelmed you get that I'll never be able to pay everybody back.
It's the same feeling Brad is now trying to navigate after the community lined his road home from the hospital and more than 1,000 people showed up to a fundraiser to help him get started on his long road ahead.
It's kind of a different procedure they did. A lot of them, you'll hear them say above knee removal or below knee removal, and they actually took my knee apart. I still have my kneecap. I can still flex at the knee joint.
And as he now works to get back on his feet, it's not the only work he's putting in.
I hand wrote many a thank yous. If it wouldn't be for the cards and letters and the support, who knows where we'd be sitting today.
But as for the man sitting next to him, no thank yous are needed.
There, that took care of it right there.
Yeah, it's...
We don't want to get too mushy here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All square and more connected than ever.
It goes around, comes around, and unfortunately or fortunately sometimes.
Near Cottonwood, Minnesota.
The good Lord is here looking over us, and he was there that night.
Kent Erdahl, KARE 11 News.
Both Brad and Charlie are former volunteer firefighters and credit the fire department and EMS for performing the complicated rescue that morning. From neighbor helping neighbor to a story about community, we brought you the story of the Breakfast Club in 2019. It's a Bible study for high school students in St. Michael, Albertville. And for years, Christy and Jake Vanda hosted the club out of their home. But the Breakfast Club kept getting bigger. So they set off looking for land and building a new big space just for teenagers. And Julie Nelson shows us what happened next.
The sun is barely up over St. Michael Albertville High School, and hundreds of kids are gathered in the high school parking lot waiting for this.
Go, go, go.
the signal that Breakfast Club can begin. About a third of the school makes this mad dash every other Thursday morning at 6:45 a.m., racing to get in line for hash browns and donuts, tea, and hugs, served up by 54 volunteers before finding their seats.
All right, so let's pray.
And settling in to hear a message from Pastor Jake Veneta.
Why am I here? To reflect God.
Some would say only a miracle could get nearly 600 teenagers out of bed before school. Breakfast Club founders Jake and Christy Veneta would not disagree.
Because you can't get teenagers to do anything. You can't.
They started this club out of their house in 2014 with their 2 high school-age kids and a handful of their friends. Their kids graduated, but Breakfast Club kept growing to about 200 or 300 kids back when we first visited in 2019.
I want to share with you a story, so grab God's word.
By the end of that year, it was obvious the club had outgrown the clubhouse.
It's like the Lord just gave this, you should do Breakfast Club in a barn. So we thought it was an existing barn, and we tried that, and it didn't work.
So they started looking for land.
Somebody said, you got to call this guy, Mr. Montgomery. And I'm like, I don't know Mr. Montgomery, so I pick a cold call.
We talked for a few minutes and hung up, sent me a link to a KARE 11 story. You know, it kind of really hit home as a Christian that I need to get involved in this.
Well, he calls me back the next day, and he says, I own all the land across from the high school. I said, you do? And he said, whatever you need.
And after that, other donations just started pouring in. These business owners donated the plumbing, the electrical, and the site work.
How much did you charge Breakfast Club for your services?
Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah, in the year of Contagious, I would say this barn is built with contagious generosity.
People throughout St. Michael saw what Breakfast Club meant to kids in their community, and they wanted to be a part of it.
We can't do what you do, Jake, up in front, but we got bulldozers. We got electrical cords, we got ceiling fans, we got light bulbs. What do you need?
Page 1070.
In under a year, this 6,300 square foot barn worth $2.1 million was built without ever organizing a fundraising campaign or taking on $1 of debt.
So kids can hear about the Lord and hear they're loved and hear that they matter. And I don't know of a teenager on planet Earth that doesn't need to hear that message.
When the barn first opened, the Venetas worried it would be too big, but
We were full the second time we met. We opened it and they filled it, just like that.
And I'm glad you're here, because it would look really bad if we built a big barn and then there's like 2 kids.
and by this last Breakfast Club of the year, it appears the barn isn't big enough.
What are we going to do? We don't know. Clay, do we need another 100 acres? I don't know. I don't even know.
But we didn't know what we were gonna do when we had 12 kids. It was just create space.
And trust God.
Get really close together.
God will show us. He will fund it. He will do it. He's on the hook for that. We're on the hook to just be faithful. So stay tuned. And I don't think God's done with this story.
This Breakfast Club is only for St. Michael Albertville High School students, but there are now breakfast clubs all over the metro and as far away as the state of Texas, North Carolina, Colorado, and Pennsylvania. Well, still ahead on the show tonight, a story that proves the Twin Cities has a big and generous heart, supporting a popular radio personality who went through a tough time many of you are all too familiar with.
15 years of storytelling, hundreds of videos, all in one place. Land of 10,000 Stories, the complete collection. Rewatch your favorite stories or use the interactive map to find new stories across our state. Go to KARE11.com/land.
Welcome back. Over the summer, KS95's longtime radio host Crisco opened up about a really hard time in his life. His listeners reached out and made what he said could have been one of his worst weeks ever a little bit better. Eva shares the story.
So there's that one.
And then there's that one we wore matching shirts.
This black lab
There's one of her kisses.
is the love of Crisco's life.
Just her face, those eyes. I mean, there is no more adorable, loving face than that face.
And as a host at KS95 Radio,
It is Crisco, Des, and Ryan.
Crisco professes his love to Babe regularly.
She's just so darn cute.
I'm looking at it right now, and she's in a cute little scarf.
She just had a bath.
In fact, Crisco says this rescue dog rescued him, too.
I was saved by Babe. She got me through some really dark times after my dad passed away.
But on Monday,
Something's wrong with Babe. Something's off.
Babe passed away.
I had to put Babe down. Yeah. So we're sending the big guy some love today.
Crisco's co-hosts showed that love by organizing Bucks for Babe, a fundraiser for the lab's legacy, with money going to the rescue agency Secondhand Hounds. They announced it on air Wednesday.
My office manager texted me within like 8 minutes, and she was like, we're already at $4,000. And I was like, in 8 minutes?
Congratulations, listeners, you did it!
4,000 turned to 10, turned to
our $25,000 goal,
which was doubled by Spire Credit Union, and donations kept coming. And a short 2 days after the fundraiser began, a grand total of
$94,454.
$94,000!
To be exact, 94.5 thousand from the listeners of 94.5 FM.
It's meant to be.
Money that will rescue
Thousands of lives. Thousands.
Secondhand Hounds got a lot of love, and they sent some right back.
You stop it.
Babe is still the love of Crisco's life.
And I'll never stop missing her. I'll never stop loving her.
But now that love is shared with so many others.
She's going to be forever remembered.
While we're talking about people lifting up our community, we want to say thank you to you, the folks who watch this show, for lifting up our community. Last month we told you about Every Meal. It's a nonprofit that gives meals to kids in schools in need in Minnesota when they need it. And in 2 days, you raised $41,869. That's a weekend of food for nearly 6,900 of our kids. So again, we want to say thanks.
Coming up, from tragedy comes messages of hope and kindness for anyone who might need them. See how next.
What is Near Me? If you're out at UC News near you, just open the KARE 11 app and go to Near Me at the bottom right. Then tap Share with Us. Upload your photo or video and tell us about it. Hit Submit, and once you see success, your news has reached our team at KARE 11 News.
Welcome back. This is a story about the light that comes on the other side of the dark, and that light is in Anoka tonight.
I came here that day and I cried.
In the summer of 2019, Missy Mershman needed to find a way to make light
It's wonderful now
in the dark for the family of Private Nicole Burnham.
I just can't imagine what their family goes through. And it's really important for them that Nicole isn't forgotten. And I don't want her to be either.
Nicole was a graduate of Anoka High School and an Army private from 2015 until her death by suicide in 2018. She died just 4 months after telling her Army superior she was sexually assaulted by a soldier in her barracks, a soldier the Army didn't remove from being in Nicole's daily contact after the assault for more than 80 days.
She was outgoing and funny, beautiful. She was just a shining star. And so it's hard to understand why she's not here. And I don't want her to be forgotten.
Missy memorialized Nicole with the Anoka Kindness Rock Garden, a small spot under a tree at the Veterans Memorial, a place of peace, and a place where folks could stop to take a piece, a rock painted with a message of kindness.
I know Nicole's family really felt kindness was important, and Nicole's message was to be good to people and kind to people, and I just wanted that to live on.
In the 3 years it's been around, the garden outgrew its home under that tree. Just too many people needed a rock or wanted to make a rock, and so it moved to its new location, which is where Tammy found herself over the years as well.
I kept wanting to come back to that garden. It just seemed like a peaceful place to just sit and be, and something I wanted to be close to.
Tammy first saw the rocks back at the old tree and came back again and again. And then
we ended up having a crisis in our family, and one of my kiddos was in a real mental health crisis, and we ended up taking my child to the hospital. And when I left my child at the hospital to drive away, it was one of the hardest moments of my life. But I had rocks with me that had some powerful words on them that I wanted to leave behind.
after she left them that night, she came back and began painting rocks for others who might need them when their day came, to just get the tiniest boost. Which to me means,
you know what, Tammy? I don't think this is really a story about rocks. I think it's about something else.
Yeah, it does go deeper. It does go, people want to connect with other people, and people that are hurting need to connect with other people. And that's what we need to do.
God bless you.
Why would it matter to help a stranger?
It makes a stronger community, and I think we can all do our part, you know? Everyone can do something, and this is a small way that we've found to come together.
It's for brightening my day.
And do something that makes us feel good and hopefully can make other people feel good and find some joy.
Coming up, a wish granted, not just for the kid who made it, but for his whole school as well. You won't want to miss it. Be right back.
Be warned before the storm. The KARE 11 Weather Warn Day signals a change coming for your weather. Because winter is challenging, the Weather Warn symbol lets you know when to be prepared. Be warned before the storm with KARE 11 Weather Warn.
So earlier this year, a Bloomington boy made a wish during his battle with leukemia. A wish not just for him, but for his friends and classmates as well. And Eva was there as his wish was granted, just in time for his 6th birthday.
For many Make-A-Wish children, their wish is a one-time trip to somewhere special. But for Grant, his gift is a permanent fixture in the community to be shared with children for years to come.
There we go.
The best ever birthday bash begins
Take my hand.
with a little disorientation and plenty of party guests ready to welcome the guest of honor.
And we want to say welcome to your wish.
Grant Lovin's birthday wish was a towering new playground in his favorite color, green. And Tuesday, among cheers from the community, Grant's wish was granted.
Why don't you climb up in there?
Grant's journey has been tougher than most, a tricky trek with lots of turns.
You go down the slide.
But today, it's all downhill. Because this 6-year-old is cancer-free.
We will never forget the day that Grant was diagnosed. Through it all, you've come through and you're stronger.
Grant was diagnosed with leukemia in 2018 and endured more than 2 years of chemo. When Make-A-Wish approached Grant's family, he chose to give back to Bloomington Living Hope Lutheran School for a new playground, which he helped design.
For a little boy to have the wherewithal to think about his school, his community, it says a lot about who he is.
And Make-A-Wish CEO Carrie Davis says just as special is how much the community chipped in to fulfill the wish.
So we raised just short of $200,000.
Angela Dingles spearheaded the fundraising and volunteer coordination and says another $200,000 worth of skilled labor was donated.
We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him.
Because he's been relatively isolated during treatment, he hasn't made a whole lot of friends. And so this opportunity for him to go to kindergarten now in the fall, meet all these friends, and then just, every recess he's going to be playing here with all of his friends.
All because this spunky 6-year-old learned one of life's big lessons really early. The best gift of all is giving back. Oh, and playing with others? That's right up there too. Eva Anderson, KARE 11 News.
Thanks for joining us tonight for this special edition of Breaking the News. We hope you enjoyed the stories we shared with you. Take care and good night.